Hello everyone, so let's talk briefly. Why do Orthodox Christians and Roman Catholics reject sola scriptura? So I became an Orthodox Christian when I was 17, so almost 10 years ago now, and the perspective on scripture that is within the Orthodox faith is drastically different from what is presented in Protestantism. The term itself means by scripture alone, and depending on how this term is used, it can be used one of two ways. It can either be used to indicate that the Bible is absolutely the only source of divine inspiration for the Christian, or it is the supreme source by which all other sources of divine inspiration must be tested. So the pre-Protestant view on the church first is that the church Christ founded is not an invisible body of all believers, it is a visible institution. And as an Orthodox Christian, we believe in the modern world, the Orthodox Church is the church that Jesus Christ founded. It is the continuation of that ancient church created at Pentecost. Now, we believe that there are a number of different sources of divine inspiration. We have the scriptures, we have the unwritten sacred tradition, we have the ecumenical councils of the church that establish the dogmas of the church, and we do not believe that one of these is supreme to the other. We believe that they are meant to exist laterally to each other. One is not meant to be the ultimate source against which all the others are weighed. They are all meant to exist horizontally on the same level and all be judged against each other. Sola Scriptura did not exist until the Reformation, and virtually throughout entire church history, all of the church fathers and theologians and saints agree that there are a number of different sources of divine inspiration. Not to mention that even in the Bible, such as 2 Thessalonians 2:15, you have Paul appealing to oral tradition as a source of authority as opposed to just Scripture. So we believe that the visible institution founded by Christ, which is the Orthodox Church, is the foundation of the Christian faith, and that all of these sources of divine inspiration, like Scripture, like tradition, like the ecumenical councils, flow forth from her. Sola Scriptura is never taught by the Bible. It's a very novel idea. Sola Scriptura fails its own test because there are many instances in the Bible of things other than written text being the authority by which Christians must live and must believe. Not to mention that within the Bible, there are a variety of different perspectives presented on many of the same issues. The modern idea of inerrancy of Scripture that was created within the Protestant Reformation is very new, and it is not consistent with the Bible. And I mean, throughout history, many scholars and saints and theologians have agreed that there seem to be some historical discrepancies in the Bible, and we don't have the original manuscripts to know exactly what was written, but it was irrelevant to matters of salvation, and it was not considered the only source of divine inspiration. There were many others, all of which flow forth from the visible institution of the church. Also, to claim Scripture alone, but then also take out a bunch of books from the Old Testament that are now called the Deuterocanonical or Apocryphal books is really hypocritical. Not to mention that Luther wanted to take out a bunch of other books from the New Testament that were inconsistent with his theological ideas.